What's up guys, jtmoffroad here. Today's video I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I learned parting out a vehicle. Alrighty, so I want to do a little video just, updating you on what we did with the parts truck and where we're at now and what I'm going to be doing going forward with this avalanche project. A couple things I learned with this parts truck. Sorry there's so much, it's cold. I don't have the heat on. If I turn the heater on it'd be too loud and it'd be kind of annoying trying to listen to me talk. So anyway, I kind of want to just like give you a few things that I found out while I was doing all this work with the parts truck, parting it out. It's finally gone and we just have all the parts left over now and then I'm trying to sell them. It was a pretty quick turnaround time, all things considering. It was less than 2 months I had the truck, and just over a few weekends or a few days I really just hit it and got all the parts I could off of it. Well, all the parts that I thought were worth pulling. The truck had over 200,000 miles, so I didn't really think it would be worth pulling the drivetrain stuff, so I didn't bother with that. After the fact, all these people are asking me about the axles and stuff. Maybe I should have probably pulled them. I don't know. This was a very big just learning process for me. It was a lot of fun pulling all these parts. I'd definitely do it again. It was a lot of fun just pulling everything off, seeing how things go together. There's a lot of stuff that I pulled off of it that I haven't touched on my avalanche. So it's kind of cool seeing how things went together and how things came off. And there's a lot of stuff I had to look up on YouTube. So I figured I'd just throw this video out there and just have a bunch of things on there with the things that I've learned and maybe just some tips that might help you out. And maybe I'm completely wrong about some of them. But I figured I'd just go ahead and throw it out there. So let's go ahead and get started. So I had to drill out a bunch of spot welds. I tried saving the rockers on this vehicle, and after spending 2 hours drilling out spot welds and figuring out a process, there's like this little covering that went over the bottom of the rocker, and I don't know why it was on there. Like, I guess it could help a bit against keeping some stuff out, but it was honestly just it had a sticky backing on it, and it was like rubber, and it went the whole length of the rocker. And to me that just seems like something's gonna hold stuff in. So anyway, I pulled that after I drilled all the spot welds out, and I'm feeling under the rocker and my hand goes right through. So I just spent 2 hours working on pulling these rockers off, and they're bad. So I still have these ones. I still have these rockers that are gonna go on this guy. So I figured I'd try to save myself. It was a little more work, but I thought maybe I'd try to save them off the other one. I probably should have done a little more investigating beforehand. So, maybe I could have pulled them. It was going to be a whole lot more work in the long run. So I decided against that. But I did pull a bunch of the panels around the rockers that are here and at the bedside. And there's some like structural pieces that are in there that I pulled too. So I figure I could use those at least, since there's a lot of areas there that the metal's just all gone. So I pulled some stuff that hopefully I can weld in here and get this area patched up. Same with this. I've got the cladding on still, but I'll pull that and weld in some new spots there. So I have all the panels sitting over here, and you can see, well, a couple things. There's all this foam, and I don't know if it's for sound deadening. It held the panels together, which was a huge pain, because I didn't know of a good way to separate the panels. I was trying to pull the whole upper panel off, but I actually ended up, I technically only need like so far up, like down here. So I ended up cutting all of this much down, and it was easier to separate the panels that were stuck together, because there's an inner panel to that, and then there's the outer one that you still don't see here because it's covered up. But there's two panels, and they're stuck together with all this foam. I don't know why, Somebody tell me why they use this. Because to me, if there's any moisture that gets back there, it's going to trap and rust out. So these things have been kind of set up for failure from the start, at least from what I'm gathering. So maybe I'm completely wrong, but these are the areas that all rust out, is, you know, where all that foam is. So I don't know. Anyway, back to drilling out spot welds. So I started with using a Harbor Freight spot weld drill bit. And these are the other ones. These are the ones that I was using. And you know what you want to do with those? And leave them in there. Maybe I'm using them wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. There's a good chance of that. But with these ones, they're hard to start right off the bat, which it took some getting used to, because as soon as you stick this on, so it has a little spring in there and it pushes down. So then as soon as you're on there and you start drilling, I found it worked best if you go slow, but it wants to eventually catch and start walking. So you kind of got to hold it there for a little bit while it's drilling. It's pretty much just a mini hole saw is what it is. But it's double-sided, so when one side goes bad, you can switch it. I had luck with, you know, a couple, which wasn't bad, but the teeth end up breaking. Like, I don't know, they're each $5, and I bought 4 of them. So $20 I kind of just threw away. So I think maybe, I don't know if it's just those ones, if I'm just doing something wrong. I would try to have it going before I actually got to the metal. Because I did find that if you have it up against the metal and you go, it's just going to break all the teeth instantly. So you start further out and then go in, and it seems like it does better. So maybe I do need to learn a little more about that. Maybe these Harbor Freight ones are just junk, which is a good possibility. So what I did find out is for what we were doing, I just needed the panels all drilled out. So we found out that if you just use a step drill bit, it's going to go right through. It's super fast. I just kept a little cup of oil next to me and I dip it in every once in a while and just run these at high speed. And man, that saves so much time. I didn't have to worry about anything breaking. I spent no time at all on each spot weld, so it was great. And I had to have drilled out maybe 100 spot welds, if not more, and did it all with that. The other one is only good for, I don't know, maybe 20 or so. So worked out. I use that. So maybe if you guys are doing that, maybe you want to use a step drill bit too. Maybe there's just better spot weld bits out there that maybe I should look into. Maybe I'm just not using a good technique. Let me know. I need to know. This is the one thing I love about this channel is you guys definitely correct me when I'm wrong, and that's good for me to learn because I don't know what I'm doing. So the other thing I learned when separating those panels, you drill those out and then you got to separate the panels. There's some pieces that you can buy, and there's panel separators. What I found out is I had a gasket scraper laying around, like so, and I just ground down the edge so it was sharper, and this end was already broken off because I tried using it for things I'm not supposed to use it for, and that ended up being just my end I used with the hammer, and it's actually pretty good separating panels out. This little offset edge kind of helped in some areas, trying to get closer to some things that you might not be able to. So this worked out pretty well. I've heard you can use just some stock like 3/16 bar and just like grind the one edge down similar to this, and that works pretty well too. That way you don't have to buy an actual tool. But this wasn't bad. I picked it up at Harbor Freight really cheap anyway. So that was my experience with the body stuff that I'm trying to save. So I'm hoping all that stuff works out. I'm gonna have to grind some of that rust down and treat that before I put it back on. So that went pretty It actually took longer than I thought. I thought it was just going to be simple, cut it off. It was a little more involved than I thought. So, but I learned that. I learned about that, so that helped. So moving on to the other thing, removing doors on these trucks is super easy. So all you have to do is remove this bolt, and remove this bolt. When you remove this bolt, it separates this arm from the arm for the door, and you just slide it over, slide that one over, and then it's just like a Jeep, just lift it straight up. Of course you gotta remove the wiring, so I did it from inside here. There's a panel you can remove, and then you can separate the wiring harness from inside here. So that was actually fairly simple. That took me no time at all doing that. I thought it was gonna be way worse, and it was perfectly fine. No issues there at all. I'm sure you can see this was actually way worse. I could barely walk around, but I've been working on organizing this all, and I've actually got it good. I sold some things. I sold the hood already. I'm trying to get rid of the rest of this stuff. So it's coming along. I'm trying to make my money back, which doesn't seem like it's going to be an issue. But with the seats, there was no power to the truck, which was an issue. And I found out, looking around online, that you can use a jump pack or something and move these seats. So I found out that, go ahead and pull the passenger seat up for an example. Again, guys, these are not how-tos. This is just what I do. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Be careful with whatever you do. But this is what I did, and it worked, and it was fine. So I had made some leads, a couple connectors on here. My camera's not going to zoom very well, so I apologize. But you can slide these little female ends on the edge of connectors, the male ends, and then this, I don't know, I just put that one on just because it seemed to grab. So took my DeWalt battery, took my wires. I don't feel like cutting anything wire-wise on this, but so I just unhooked the pigtail. There's an orange wire here and a black wire over there. So the orange wire, I just slid that on, and for the black wire, I slid this guy on. Took my battery, found my positive, slid it in there. Took my black, slid it in there, and test it out. There we go. You're able to slide this back and forth now, so you can get the bolts in the back, in the front, whatever you need to do. When I found that out, I was like, this is super awesome. I'm gonna go grab my camera and make a video. And I'm like, no, I really just need to get this done. So I didn't bother. Go to the driver's side to do it. Driver's side doesn't work. So I don't know if the motor's bad. There's a memory module in there. I don't know if that has something to do with it. I'm not good with electrical. I was just like super pumped that I found this out. So that was pretty cool. You know, I ended up having to cut the floor out to get that one out. So yeah, not so much fun. The other thing I found out about, and I thought it was pretty cool. So these seats, they're kind of folded down and neglected, and they have these little indents in the leather. It's like there's got to be a way to fix that. So sure enough, I look online. This one was pretty much just as bad. In this lighting, you can see there's a dent. Actually, I guess it's coming back a little bit, but these were like really harsh. I did find out a way how to soften those. Man, that's really bad now. I found out you can get rid of those with a heat gun. So go ahead and I'll show you what I found out. So what you do, take your heat gun, put it on a low setting. Just kind of work out a little bit. There you go, just a minute, just about a minute. You know, it's already looking better. So you know, it so far it seems like it does good right at first. You know, you can definitely still see there's some dents, but they're not as harsh. So it's a lot better than what it was. Like I said, this one's starting to show up again, but it's also very cold in my garage, so I don't know if that's part of it. I don't know. That was a pretty neat trick I found out about. As far as plastic tabs go, pulling those little Christmas tree type things, definitely just used one of these. I didn't use any of these until the very end, and I had them right here in my toolbox, plenty of them. I don't know why I didn't bother using these to begin with, but those definitely are time saver. The other thing is just don't park your truck in a swamp and work on it, because it's a terrible muddy mess and just no fun at all. I have to work on reseeding and bring my grass back. That was just a big pain. My setup here isn't the greatest. If I really could have, it would have been awesome bringing it into the garage, but once I get it in, there's really no way to get it out. I don't even have a way to really set up my trailer outside, even if I had a winch to pull that right out. I would like doing this again in the future, but I just have to figure out a better way to make everything work. But it was a lot of fun. I really like doing it. I think that was most of the things I figured out. If there's anything else that comes up, I'll drop down in the comments or the description and, you know, say what else I found out. I think that was the biggest thing. There's other things that I knew about already that might be something you're wondering about. If you have any questions, ask. I'll try to answer whatever I can. Engine was already pulled on this. I didn't bother pulling any of the transmission or anything like that. You know, I probably could have and just had like the core stuff. Maybe got a little bit of money for it, but honestly, I want this space back so I can use it. My Jeep's sitting outside. I don't let my Jeep sit outside in the winter. It needs to be here in the garage. I really don't like having it sit outside. So that's actually kind of killing me right now, having all my parts laying in here taking up space. And I feel really snooty saying that, but you know, it's the winters up here are terrible, and I just feel like anytime this is parked outside, it's getting rust on it. So I'd rather just have it in the garage. So I'm really anxious to get started on this Avalanche. I've been doing some small stuff. I just kind of like cleaned the interior out a bit, cleaned like some of these other areas a little bit. Just kind of get my head wrapped around what I got to do. But some really big news. I'm in the market for a new welder. It's about time I ditched the little flux core wire welder setup, the little 90 amp guy. Worked really great. Still works fine. But for this project, I want to do things a little nicer. I really think it's probably time that I jump to a MIG setup. So been pricing around, trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. Looks like there's a new Lincoln 140 that's going to be coming out. I might be getting, but I've been going through this process. I'll let you know what I finally get. I'm very excited for that. Very excited to run a full MIG setup with the bottle and everything. Use solid core and not flux core. I'm tired of bad spattery looking welds. Hopefully we'll be jumping into this soon, taking care of a lot of the rust, and get started on the body work here soon, and then go on to the rest of the project. So stay tuned for all that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Check out all my other videos. This is going to be a good build coming up with this Avalanche, making this lifted on 35s. And, you know, I've got stuff planned for the Jeep. Now that I'm going to have a better welder, I'm going to be able to do a lot more projects that I've been wanting to do, and I've been kind of holding off on because I didn't have a good MIG setup yet. So when I get that, I'll finally be able to do some of those other projects. So be sure to give the video a thumbs up if you like it. Go down to the description. Got t-shirts for sale. Buy yourself one of those. I'd say that's about it for this one, guys. We'll see you in the next one.